Every person has a unique story, and every story has its beginnings. It's the relationships we build and the experiences we gather that shape who we are and influence the paths that we take in life. While many of us hold similar dreams, goals, and aspirations, not everyone is willing to put in the hard work required to bring those dreams to fruition. It takes dedication, resilience, and at times a stroke of luck to turn aspirations into reality. Every journey is different, but the commitment to succeed is what ultimately defines us. Roughly 1.6% of college football players make it to the NFL, and two former Toledo Rockets are set to join that exclusive group. Maxen Hook and Darius Alexander have both worked tirelessly to turn their dreams into reality. Two separate stories, two separate journeys, one common goal, and two dreams that will both come true in the same week. These are the stories of Darius Alexander's and Maxen Hook's path to the NFL draft. About an hour and a half from Lucas Oil Stadium in Fort Wayne, Indiana, is Wayne High School, home of the Generals. When I approached the front desk at Wayne High School, eager to try and tell the story of the Toledo defensive line prospect Darius Alexander from start to finish, I was approached with many smiles and exclamations saying how much everyone loved DA. It was easy to see the influence he had made on the people around him immediately. So who is Darius Alexander before the bright lights of the NFL draft? The first two people I talked to gave me a pretty clear picture of the type of athlete Darius was in his days as a general. And those were his high school track and field coach, Jake Sharon, and his old basketball coach, Aaron Rare.
Oh, from day one. I mean, I remember him coming in as an 8th grader. Him as a freshman, we'd have college coaches coming in and they'd be recruiting other guys and be like, who's that guy over there? Who's the big guy? And you knew at that time, like even those guys had not even seen him do anything, knew he was gonna be special. It really picked up his junior year, and just like I said, his size alone. And I remember coaches always being impressed when they'd come in, see him on the basketball court. I mean, there was Division I coaches from Ohio State that would come to watch other players and say, who's that guy? And you know, I know Coach Rare would mention that's DA, and he's pretty impressive in his own right. And I think the unique thing about DA is that being that big, you always don't see how well his feet are. Like most guys his size can't move like he could, and that's what made him, you know, and he didn't, I mean, track was his probably third sport, so it was kind of like, you know, just show up and do it, but he's athletic enough and nimble and fast enough to get across the ring and be successful.
When he came to us as a freshman, he was just bigger than everybody, right? And his feet and his athleticism were so good. Like, I remember as he progressed, we had another big, so I had two guys that were like high-level Division I athletes. And DA was just so big and so fast that it was really kind of unfair. You know, on the court, we could use him to set screens and defensively and rebounding. So just a phenomenal athlete. Just walking around the halls, like everybody loves DA. And when I had my son, I have pictures still on my phone of him laying on the floor. Like I'd have the team over for the sectional draw and things like that, and I have pictures of DA like laying on the floor with my son when he was a baby. Like he would gravitate towards, you know, helping and always being around and helping others. Just phenomenal. I mean, he was just a great student athlete that would give his shirt off his back to anybody, and he worked hard all the time.
Darius was a 3-time letter winner as a defensive lineman, a 2-time All-State performer as a general. It wasn't until I was sitting in the VIP section of Burn's Cigar Bar in downtown Indianapolis that I was able to catch up with Darius's old high school head coach, Derek Moore. The story of how I ended up there was one in itself, but with DA being in a pre-combine meeting with an NFL squad, myself and Coach Moore, we were able to dive deeper into his high school career at Wayne.
Mrs. Taya Alexander, his mom, is classroom first, always has been, always will be. She brought us Darius in the 8th grade. As a head football coach, I was student athletes all the way, right? Even back to my head coach, Tom Macon in Little League, who taught us without books you can't play football. So Darius was not a big fan of math, right? So we had to work with him a lot on getting those skills down. But anything we always asked Darius to do, he was always willing to do it to get better. He was the model student athlete. He was the model student, never got in trouble, never had any problems from teachers. And his mom was his rock. She supported us 100% when it came to pushing academics. She didn't want to talk about anything about football. She wanted to talk about who was going to be there to take care of her baby, big baby. She trusted our coaching staff. I talked with her personally. We walked and talked for about 45 minutes. And it was tough as a coach to talk about anything except football, right? What are you going to do for him in the classroom? Can I trust you with him when football's not going on? How are you going to teach him, are you going to teach him how to be a young man, be respectful, be a good father, a good son, a good uncle? And so I appreciate that relationship she formed with us more than I did at that time. To be completely honest, at that time I wanted to see what he could do on the field, right? I want this kid on our team. But the relationship we formed since then, some of those values are now paying off now that he's living out his dream.
Well, you heard Coach Moore mention Darius's mom, Taya. When I first met Taya, it was evident exactly where Darius got his work ethic from. From day one, it was about school first and football second. But as his mom, she knew earlier than anyone the talent and passion he had for the game of football.
Well, I'm gonna go all the way back.
Okay.
To when he started at 6 years old. He was something pretty cool. Matter of fact, I'm gonna go further than that. I'm gonna go all the way back to when he was probably 8 months. And I wish I would have brought that picture so you could have seen it, where he has the balls and he's holding them. So he's probably paved his way before he even knew so.
She also saw firsthand the amount of work he put in to become the player he is today, but also said for as much talent he has, nothing came easy to him. His path was paved by his hard work and his dedication.
First and foremost, he's worked hard for everything. You know how some people just get it easy? I think for him, even to this point, you have to prove who you are. I think even choosing where he went to school at, some people always question why there, why did he stay, but he's one loyal individual person, and he's just been fighting hard to make it known that he can do what it takes out there on that field. Adversity is one thing that he's had to deal with, I think, just from beginning. So he's kind of mastered that, and he's keep going with it.
When it was time to commit out of high school, loyalty once again pulled through. Through thick and thin, the University of Toledo was there for Darius, a sentiment echoed by Taya.
One thing is they didn't give up. So even when it was maybe he'll be there, maybe he wouldn't, they stayed to the end and was willing to do, even if he had to gray shirt, they were willing to stick by his side to make sure that he was able to go there.
Toledo was my first offer, and then come National Signing Day, I already knew where I wanted to go, so I became a Rocket. They mean everything. Coach Kendall, he gave me my first opportunity, and I've been with him since. These last 6 years at Toledo have just been wonderful and grateful to me, and I just enjoyed it.
When recruiting Darius, his size obviously stood out, but what separated him from the rest? Well, I deferred to his future head coach, Jason Candle, for a better perspective.
Well, I mean, a great talent, obviously. A raw athlete, what he was going to become. Actually, played him at offensive tackle as a freshman, and probably did some days there that he doesn't want to, recall, or I don't want to recall either. But great part of the growth process. Made him really, I think, commit to being what he wanted to be. And we're sitting here watching the finished product now here at Lucas Oil.
And it wasn't the only time in his career that DA was put on the offensive line.
Strangely enough, Darius didn't want to play offensive line. So we had him at right tackle. I remember having to bench Darius. We were playing south side, and he comes to the sideline. He tells me, "Coach, I'm not playing offense anymore." I said, "Well, if you're not going to play offense, then you can't play defense, right?" He came from Toledo. You guys played Massachusetts, I think. Okay. Week with UMass, and we talked, and he said, "Coach, I apologize." And I said, "What do you apologize for? You had a great game against UMass." And he said, "No, when I refused to go in the game, we were playing Southside to play offense. I apologize." And I said, "I forgot about that." He said, "You benched me," and he didn't understand that. He didn't think I would bench him. So we go out for defense, and he get ready to go on the field, and I said, "No, hold on. Hot Dog," we had a kid named Hot Dog. I said, "Go ahead, Hot Dog, get out there." And I think it shocked him, but I was trying to teach the value of team over individual.
But of course, it was on the defensive line at Toledo where Darius wreaked havoc. He was an absolute nightmare for opposing Mid-American Conference quarterbacks. By the end of his junior year, like many talented players, DA had a choice to make: stay at the school that stayed true to him, or find another home for his final season. Darius earned second-team All-MAC honors at defensive tackle in 2024, after making third-team All-League in 2023. He set career highs in tackles and tackles for a loss this past season, and had a memorable 58-yard pick six in Toledo's 48-46 six-overtime victory over Pittsburgh in the Game Above Sports Bowl.
Snap to Duggar. In the pocket, throws it over the middle. Is intercepted at the 42-yard line. And it is Darius Alexander down the sideline to the 20, to the 10, to the 5. Touchdown, Rockets. Are you kidding me?
Big man touchdown. There's nothing better in all of sports than a big man touchdown. Darius Alexander in his last game as a Rocket, walking out of here with a pick six. That is beautiful.
Oh my goodness.
It was his junior season when Darius started to turn the heads of NFL scouts. His senior season solidified him as an NFL draft pick, but it wasn't until his invitation to the Senior Bowl that he started to shoot up draft boards. If there was any doubt about the athletic competition that Darius faced in college, that was all cleared up quickly. He was named the top defensive lineman at the Senior Bowl in a vote by the offensive linemen participating in the practices. He followed that with a noteworthy performance at the nation's premier All-Star game, dominating the American team quarterbacks. He continued that momentum with a standout performance at the NFL Combine. Alexander's 40 time of 4.95 was tied for 5th among interior defensive linemen.
First defensive
See
line.
if he gets under 5 flat here. Smooth run.
Holy
there you go.
Toledo. 4.96, sub 5.40 run by a man that size.
Just real smooth. I mean, he really doesn't have any stiffness when you watch him. Everything he does is real fluid and smooth, and that was represented by that 40. That was easy.
His final results placed him in the top 10 across all defensive linemen. His athletic ability is proven and obvious, his work ethic correlates to his success, and his ability to crush adversity is unmatched. But who is Darius off the field? He's not just a teammate, a son, and a friend. An important part of Darius's journey is the day that he became a father.
Darius Alexander as a dad, he's a wonderful guy, he's a heartfelt guy. He just loves showing his son the right way, the right things to do, and just leading by an example.
See the little one won't quit follow him around, right? He's awesome. He's, I will say he try and override me a lot. So where I'm more of the strict side, he's more the easygoing side, like give him what he wants, but he's very awesome. He's doing well.
Darius is a fun-loving spirit that, just one of those guys you want to be around, always smiling. Got a really strong love for football and a really strong passion to be around the game. Love his relationships with his teammates and just his process, and watching him grow as a young man here has been fun to be a part of and fun to watch. Man, it's been an awesome journey for him, and I know there's so much more that's out there for him and through this process and through this journey, and just it's been fun to watch and sit back and watch him do his thing, because he's a self-made guy, and he's in a position to one, to put himself and his family in a position where some goals and some dreams have been accomplished, but also set himself up for some really cool things in the future.
Now, Darius Alexander isn't the only Toledo prospect waiting to hear his name called on draft night, and it also isn't the only NFL dream on the Rockets that originated in the Hoosier State. Nestled just 25 minutes from Lucas Oil Stadium lies the quaint town of New Palestine, a charming gem in Hancock County, Indiana. With a close-knit community of around 3,000 residents, this small town exudes a warm and welcoming atmosphere. New Palestine High School educates roughly 1,200 students, fostering a spirited environment where everyone knows their neighbor. This is where Maxen Hook's path to the NFL draft began. To get a better perspective on who Maxen was before donning the midnight blue and gold, I had to start from the beginning, with a few people who played an instrumental role in Maxen's life in the classroom and on the field. His high school football coach Kyle Ralph, his middle school principal Jim Voles, and his high school wide receiver coach Brandon Collins.
We watch a lot of these kids obviously grow up through our youth league and stuff, and we've had a lot of great players come and go through our youth league. I think you realize probably halfway through his sophomore year in high school that we had something really special on our hands. He'd always been a good player. He was really solid in the youth league, junior high, played on the freshman team. But about halfway through his sophomore season, he'd been starting varsity for us since the first week, and There's a lot of ups and downs that go with that, but there was just something different about the way he competed, the way he carried himself, especially at that young age. Yeah, I would say probably around week 5 or 6 of his sophomore year, you don't really know exactly what he was going to become, but you knew you had something really good on your hands for sure.
He definitely was someone that you'd be the kind of kid that a teacher dreams of having in class. Honestly, he was hardworking, always wanted to be in the front of class, front of the line, incredibly respectful. So yeah, he was a fantastic student. Of course, that was from 12 to 14 years old, and then just knowing his family and following him through his high school career, I know that just continued. So great on the field and also in the classroom. And you know, the funny thing, my wife was his elementary fitness teacher, and I heard about Maxen since he was probably 6 or 7 years old, because she would come home from school and tell me about this Maxen kid in class who he would run into class, he'd be jumping around and just always wanted to win, always wanted to play hard. And she was, you know, definitely, he was her favorite student. And then when he came to the middle school, he played basketball, he played football, and in those sports, it was fun to watch him. Always knew that he was going to succeed in the future. It was just easy to see. He had incredible determination.
We used him all over the field, but in big games, Maxen would play receiver and put up ridiculous numbers. I was really impressed the first time I ever came to a summer practice. I asked Coach Ralph, you know, how is he not, you know, starting on offense? And he said, well, because I need him every play on defense. I need him on kickoff return, punt return. That was just Maxen's motor. A different level of intensity and get after the ball that I had never seen before.
He departed New Palestine after being named a 3-star prospect, a 3-time All-State honoree, and Indiana's defensive back Mr. Football in 2019. His stellar performance did not go unnoticed. The University of Toledo was among the first to extend its hand in recruitment, alongside interest from Big Ten and Ivy League schools, eager to harness the potential of the hard-hitting defensive back. Ultimately, it was the loyalty of the Toledo coaching staff, spearheaded by head coach Jason Candle, that stuck with Maxen and sealed his commitment to the Rockets.
So we hadn't had anybody at our school go D1 in like 30 years. And you know, when we started, you know, playing for Ralph and getting in the weight room, you know, that wasn't even a thought process. It was, I want to win a state championship. That's all I cared about. And then after we won that first state championship, you know, I still didn't even think, you know, I was getting recruited. And then all of a sudden these schools start coming in. And I remember getting my first offer and I was like, holy cow, like I can play football for another 4 years. Like this is awesome. Like I loved it. So yeah, once the offers started rolling in, I was like, yeah, that's absolutely what I'm doing. Toledo was one of the first FBS schools to give me an offer. I love Coach Candle. I love Coach Watson. And you know, for me, I wanted to pick the school that was going to give me the best opportunity to make it to the NFL. And I think I made the right choice.
I think that, you know, you watch guys come out of high school and you want to find winners, and, you know, what a great program that he came from, you know, and he had that winning pedigree, that winning mentality. You know, he was a guy that wasn't, you know, always a vocal guy when he first got here, but the work spoke for itself and spoke volumes and really spoke to the commitment that he's put into himself and ultimately at the end, the commitment that he put into the Toledo Rockets. So super proud of him, super excited to watch his growth throughout the course of his time here and the teammate that he's become and the player he's become.
That loyalty was a path that traveled both ways. It was one of trust and one of commitment, and one of the main reasons he didn't just commit to being a Rocket, but stayed committed to being a Rocket. This was a commitment shared by his 2 biggest supporters, his mom and dad, Matthew and Amy Hook.
You know, it's been great. Toledo's been awesome to Maxen. I think he walked into a great situation where he had the same head coach for all 5 years. He had the same position coach for all 5 years. Coach VK came in, you know, defensive coordinator for all the same years. Makes things a lot easier than having to learn a new system all the time. You know, when Maxen was injured, Toledo went out of their way to make sure he got the best doctors and get a second opinion. He went and saw the Packers doctor. He flew out to North Carolina to get his ankle fixed. Toledo's been awesome to Maxen. It's been an awesome experience.
The path from 3-star recruit to draft pick doesn't happen by accident. Being under-recruited is one chapter, but a relentless work ethic and high football IQ are a part of his winning equation. Maxen brings maximum energy to every play. Watching extra film is built into his life, and his leadership is exemplary. Together, these qualities enable him to excel no matter the role.
We all we got. We all we need. 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 We all we got.
From the moment he arrived on campus, Coach Candle realized he had the potential to be a star, and he became just that, a star, a leader, and a tackling machine on the Toledo defense. Hook earned All-MAC honors for the 4th time this past season, becoming only the 3rd Rocket ever to achieve this feat. He earned first-team All-MAC accolades in 2022, 2023, and 2024, and 3rd-team honors all the way back in 2021. Maxen would be the first to say that he wouldn't have been able to accomplish everything that he has without his support system. That entire support system followed him to the NFL Combine to support him in the biggest interview of his life. From his brother, Eli Hook, to his cousin, Tyler Jackson, his grandparents and old coaches, everyone has a different perspective on Maxen, but his success was no surprise to anyone.
I mean, there's no one I'm closer to than him. I know that's the only person I can call at any day, any time, and he'll always answer. I mean, all the backyard football we did, one-on-ones, just going against each other every single day. I always knew that he was going to go do something great. I mean, he's the best athlete I've ever been around, by far. The best brother you can wish for. He's always there when you need him. I mean, anytime I'm down or something, I can always call him. He'll talk to me and help me out. And I mean, there's no one I've been closer with in my entire life than him. I know that I always can count on him to be there for me.
When we were younger, like, we always had this dream of like making it and going to the NFL, which when we were younger, it was kind of just like a, you know, just a dream that we didn't really think was going to happen, but now it's coming to a reality, so it's kind of crazy to see.
He's just been a wonderful kid to actually enjoy. 17 years we've been going to the football field and watching him through anything and everything. And it's been so wonderful to see a child get to achieve their goals, to do what they want to do in life, because that's a great opportunity.
We've appreciated all his accomplishments that he's done in Toledo. They won 2 state championships at New Pal. That was so awesome, back to back. He's made history, and I'm so proud of him. I don't know what else to say.
It's exciting to see where this goes, but the ride has been amazing.
I'm so proud of him. He's worked so hard.
Crazy proud. Try and tell him all the time, but he's worked his butt off, and he's earned this.
As you walk down the halls of the Larimer Center at the University of Toledo, the first thing that catches your eye is the collection of plaques honoring those who paved the golden path to the NFL. These players, mentors, and legends have shaped the way college football is played. With all the recent change in college football, we can only rely on the constants: hard work, dedication, and representing the gold standard. It's the relationships we build and the experiences we gather that shape who we are and influence the paths that we take in life. For Maxen and Darius, that path continues this week at the 2025 NFL Draft. Soon their plaques will be hung next to those players they once looked up to, and their legacies will be permanently cemented in midnight blue and gold.